So yeah, welcome everybody to the 9th MMM event. We have been doing a lot this year already, it feels like, and we're excited to have another program for you tonight with a special guest from Norway. Great. So, and also, I'd like to start. Francesca is going to offer a prayer for us just to start the evening. So, Francesca, please. The floor is yours.
All right. Please join me in prayer. Dear and friends, good evening. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight for one more MMM event this year. We're really excited to be with brothers and sisters to listen to Margoth tonight, to share with brothers and sisters from all around Europe and the world, to create new friendships, to meet old friends, and also to, last but not least, to work on our marriage, love, and relationship that we know is so vital to you. We're really grateful to have this opportunity, and hopefully you can speak to my heart and touch us. Yeah, I want to really pray that everybody who's here and everybody who will then watch the recording can open their hearts to what we have to share with us tonight, and that it can be a meaningful, fun event for everybody. And after the journey, just Andreas and
Aju. Thank you, Francesca. Fantastic. So I think there's some new people joining us tonight. So, so for the people that haven't heard about MMM, Make the Most of Marriage before, the idea was started by Orlande and the BFD to start an initiative like this, and she basically invited a few people to start a kind of a committee to set this initiative in motion. The idea was basically to create like a monthly online event for somebody to give a talk, an inspiring talk, and also for people to be able to connect with people internationally, and connect to other people through the really good new technology that we have with the breakout rooms on Zoom. So people can go into a group, speak to people from other parts of the world. Sometimes it can be hard to have people that are in the same life situation as you, where you live. And with MMM, you have a chance to maybe speak to, reach out, or share with other people that make friendships really. So. That's kind of the idea, and for now we're doing the one monthly event. We have bigger plans for the future to create other events as well, maybe for parents, maybe to help people start up sort of international small groups, and other ideas as well. So yeah, just to introduce the crew. I think we'll get a picture up on the screen here. One second. Yes. So see if I can see that as well. One second. There we go. So from left to right, we have Abigail Arvidsson. That's her up there in the left-hand corner with her husband Victor. We have our power couple Andy and Francesca at the next picture there, who are doing a lot of different things, so making sure we're on track with a lot of things. Yeah, me and myself there with my wife and 3 kids. Of course, I mentioned Orlande. That's her with her family, and also Patrizia, who's our super. Yeah, what do you call it? I was going to mother figure. I was going to say she takes care of us all and comes in with good wisdoms and good ideas. So that's our team. So yeah, also for the people that don't know, just to explain the format really quickly. So we're going to have a talk by the speaker. It'll be about 25 minutes. It's going to follow by a Q&A after that, where people, so actually during the talk, if you want to ask some questions, just put them in the chat, and then I'll ask that, and I'll have a discussion with the speaker afterwards. Usually I'll come up with some questions as well. We've had a little bit back and forth. Then we'll present the questions for the breakout groups, and then we've just introduced also just a 5-minute break at that point, just if anybody wants to grab a drink, go to the toilet, just get prepared before they go into the breakout sessions. And then you go into the breakout sessions, and that's also about 25-30 minutes. Yeah, what we typically do is that we put you in groups where you are in the same sort of life situations as other people. It could be like a family with young kids, for example, family with older children. It could be newlyweds in one group, and that seems to have been the most successful. We get the most positive feedback from that because you know, like I was introducing MMM, when people can find people that are similar, you can share stories, and obviously you're in a similar life situation, so the things that you share with each other could be more relevant for you. And yeah, and then yeah, everybody comes back. If anybody wants to share anything from the groups, you do that. I will usually share something from my group, and we'll have a final sort of Q&A, and the speaker will maybe share something, a final something for you to do, like like a challenge or some tips for a book or anything else. So that's kind of the format of the evening. So yes, we just want to share. Also, it's important. So for Andy, who's our tech admin, that to put you in the right groups, that we can see your full name. So we're just going to play a little video now shortly, so you can change your name. Yeah, how you change your name, so it's correct. So Andy, if you can play the video, it'd be great. Can you hear me? Fantastic. Great. So yeah, I'm really excited about this evening. So we have a great speaker tonight, Margoth Kalstad, who's a Norwegian first generation. I have met her at some point. I think I must have met. I know her kids, but it was a very long time ago because I'm Swedish. So the Swedes and the Norwegians have, you know, especially winter workshops. We used to have a lot of winter workshops together. So I know her two kids, Irina and Christian. I know, you know, it's been a long time since I've seen them, but if I knew them, we would, you know, embrace. Good old friends, and they, I think, as I understand, they both have kids now as well. Auntie Margot, she has two grandkids and a third one on the way. And just to introduce her, so she has she's very well educated. Let's put it that way. She has a bachelor's degree in journalism, and she worked as an editor for 15 years, first of all. And then, she basically didn't want to do that anymore, so she went in and did something completely different. And she went back to school and studied Gestalt psychotherapy in 2008, and she became a Gestalt psychotherapist, and she's been working with that for a while, since then, as I understand, and then she's gone back to school again. So that's what I mean. She loves studying, this woman. And so at the moment she's doing a master's in pastoral care as well. So she's coming with a lot of knowledge in this evening, but she is going to focus on her Gestalt therapy, and we're going to be hearing about the paradoxical. What was it now? Paradoxical. Well, I think you'll have to introduce it. Paradoxical. I don't have it in my notes. The paradoxical theory of change. There we go. So yeah, we'll have to hear more about that anyway. But it's a great title, which entices you in. So I'm a psychology student, so that's why I'll be extra interested this evening. But Margot has promised to explain everything so we all can understand and make it relevant to our relationships and our lives. So not further more to do, I would like to introduce Margot, our tonight's speaker. So let's give her a big wave. Yeah, the floor is yours, Margot.
Thank you so much. I'll start to share my screen. Okay. Share. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
And then I have it like that, and I can switch. And then you said I should have texting on, right?
Yes, that'd be great.
Yeah, then we are all right. I'm an old lady, so I have to put my glasses on, sorry. My reading glasses.
All good.
So, hello, everybody from Oslo, Norway. It's like this is Radio Luxembourg kind of feeling. Here is the vote from the Norwegian jury. Okay. Thank you for inviting me to MMM. I'm happy to spend time together with you here tonight. And as Dan Daniel said, my topic tonight is about the paradoxical theory of change. Very difficult word. And it's from the viewpoint of Gestalt psychotherapy. First, I would like to give you a brief introduction to Gestalt therapy. It was developed by Laura and Fritz Perls in the 1940s and in the 1950s. And it's defined as a distinctive method of counseling and therapy, which emphasizes immediacy, means genuinity and authenticity, and experiencing and personal responsibility. The theory is still developing and researched by different scholars all over the world in the therapeutic field. So there is a lot of new understanding of the therapy that was developed in the 40s and 50s. There are 4 pillars of Gestalt therapy. And I'm going to speak about one of the pillars, which is phenomenology. The field is the experiencing field, the field that the atmosphere. You can translate field to atmosphere. The atmosphere you create with your friends, with yourself even, and with the society around you. And phenomenology is the here and now. And you look at how the past affect your perception of the world. And dialogue is required to bring, like the therapist is required to bring their whole self into the therapy. So we use our senses, our hearing, our ability to listen, and our ability to sense our own body. Like I'm sensing my body now, being a bit stressed. Okay, so I'm gonna breathe, take a breath. I could feel I was stressed. So this is paying attention, what's going on with me. So I hope I didn't stress you. And experimentation. People, they communicate in many ways, not just by language, verbally. Often, much of the communication is unconscious and by the body. You can see people waving with their hands and the feet, and yeah. And so you also read the body of the person. So in short, the field is how the client experience and interpret their environment. I look at the movement, as I said, as a silent voice, observing the here and now to see how the past unfolds in the present reality. So that's it. Back to paradoxical theory of change and how it helped me to understand something more about change. What is change? How do we change? Do we change by getting new lips or getting a tattoo or something? You know, people that start having this change of the body, they're never happy. That's not where they find themselves. That's not where they change. It's just a makeup they put on. So the paradoxical theory of change is briefly stated. It is that change occurs when one becomes what he is, not when he tries to become what he is not. And to explain this theory, I am going to talk about myself. I hope that is okay. And so it can be more relatable. Otherwise, it's a difficult theory to understand. So my story. I grew up in a large family with 6 brothers, 4 older brothers and 2 younger, and no sister. I only learned about sisters in the movement, and it was so difficult. My goodness. Boys are so much easier. You just, quarrel, finish. Sisters, you go for weeks and the fight goes on. Ooh. Sorry, still the boy in me. As a child, we all need to be loved and cared for. We need our parents' attention and love. I unfortunately only felt loved and seen by my mother as strong. That was the only way that she could acknowledge me, and somehow she needed me to care for her and be strong for her. I felt many times that I was the parent of my parent instead of them being my parents. So my feeling growing up, I had to be strong and take care of my parents. And sometimes I almost felt like an orphan growing up without parents. As a young child, I used to daydream about finding my real parents. You can imagine. So I'll show you something here that is gonna twist your mind. It's called the Gestalt cycle of change. I'm gonna try to explain step by step so you can understand a little bit about it, but I'm not gonna lecture about it. So the Gestalt cycle of change represent different kind of coping, or you could say protective mechanism that we use in order to get our needs met as children. This, we don't even think about it. We just do it automatically. So it means most of these mechanisms, they are subconscious and in our mind, of course. And it's very helpful for us to become aware of what is your coping mechanism and how they play out in your different relationship. With your family, with your spouse, with your friends, at work. We use all kinds of different, we don't use the one coping mechanism. Most people, they don't just use one. I can recognize myself in many of these mechanisms that are coping mechanism. And coping mechanism is some of them are very good to have, especially in crisis. But in normal day-to-day life, coping mechanism can take up much space and dominate our relationship. And you might experience then that you might feel that relationship don't give you what you are looking for. I held on to what is called the yellow arrow introject. Do you see that? It's from the middle on the far down and second yellow or orange of introject. Introject means something you were told as a child because it was told by parents or somebody you trusted, teacher or somebody, you just swallow it and believed it to be completely true. You didn't question it. So I held on to this introject my mother gave me of being strong, because that's the only way I was kind of felt that I was cared for or recognized or somehow cared for by my mother. And that gave me a sense of getting my need for attention and security met. I could orientate myself in the family by believing this, by swallowing this that she said. But it, of course, destroyed my relationship with others. My experience was that my way of relating as I grew up made others afraid. And it took me many years to understand that others didn't need me to be strong for them. But that's what I have learned. I had internalized this for so many years that I had to be strong. And of course, it did work well in some areas of my life. I could cope with very difficult situations, and I never gave up. So as you can see of this cycle of change, there are so many protective mechanisms that we use to get our needs and met. And I think those mechanisms are there for a certain reason. They are helping us, they are protecting us, and they're giving us some level of care. Not, of course, the absolute love care that we would need, that absolute attention and love that we actually should deserve to have, all of us. And in order to feel safe and loved, we should get something different. But also this protective mechanism, they're also our enemy because they keep us from becoming who we are. Like my introject need to be, my introject of being strong, I needed to chew that, accept it, and decide whether I would like that to run my life or not. I had to think who I am. Do I only want to be strong? Is that all I am? So anyway, that was about introject, that you internalize what you're told, and most children do this. The other one, they are somehow, if you read them, you can read them, what it means. Like, let's take a case. I have an arousal, I have an awareness. I'd like to get my attention from my mother. But the only way I know to be attended from my mother is to introject. I had to be strong, so I have to show up strong. But in between there is a deflection. I had to ignore and turn away from my original desire to be loved for who I am, not for her, what she needs me to be. So there is a mobilization, and the projection is that if somebody told me you don't need to, like a sister-in-law, she told me, don't you know, see Margoth, every time you come around your mother, she is helpless. I projected on her that she's jealous because I can be the strong one for my mother. So that's projection. So I became negative and projected something on her. And then retroflexion, that is withholding my emotion of need of love. And egotism is to maintain my view of myself as being strong. And confluence is a lack of boundary. I didn't have a boundary between myself and my mother. She totally invaded me by her needing me to be strong. So that resulted in a desensitization. I was cut off from my original desire, my original self, and of course, other people around me. So then I hope you can understand some of it. And then the next slide, I have to use this, yeah. So let's go back to the paradoxical theory of change. Since the response of being strong made me feel disconnected from myself and others, I asked myself, what's going on here? Can you imagine being around a person that is always strong? Who? Of course, some people, they took advantage of my strength because I could manage anything. Like I had this feeling I had to manage, regardless of how the world treated me, I had to manage because I was strong. What an interject. And I behaved towards others as I would behave towards my mother. So needless to say, my way of relating to others affected the quality of my relationship with my family, my friends, sometimes at work. And it left me with a feeling of being outside of the relationship I was not part of. I struggled a lot with that, to be even feeling connected and part of. I was there, but I could not connect myself to others, because I was always looking for one thing: how to be strong. It was a very stressful situation to be within, but I couldn't even express my stress to others and share that, because that for me would be a sign of weakness. And a strong person isn't weak. So I ended up quite lonely and unhappy, and I struggled to relate in a natural way, I felt, like others. And as a strong person, I was, of course, very afraid to let go of this interject of being strong. But at the same time, I kind of felt like, yeah, but I'm actually not strong. So I was kind of alienated also from myself. And I kind of felt, this is not what I need, this is what my mother needs. So when I discovered this, I could start on the journey to smoke out other parts of me. I took the risk to ask for help, and I accepted others' feedback. And that's really hard and scary, to open the door and listen to other people. You want to slam the door in the face mostly when people say something unexpected or unwanted or undesired or whatever. And I remember when my daughter exclaimed in shock, I have started my journey of discovering, you suddenly have so many needs, Mom. Yes. I was starting to connect with myself and be more aware of my own needs. And I think that's a better place to be in order to connect to other people's needs. It was a day of true joy for me. I thought, okay, I'm getting there. So the 2 first years of my study of Gestalt therapy, we had to work on our own story. We even had to attend 120 hours of therapy ourselves. Can you imagine? We were so fed up of ourselves after 2 years that we almost puke, you know. So, but it really helped me. And then the 2 last years, we focused more on clients. So again, the paradoxical theory made me realize, to become who I want to be, I had to go on a journey to accept where I come from. I had to accept my strength, although I didn't like it, I didn't want it, I didn't ask for it. And I had to accept that my parents did the best they could, you know. And I do firmly believe that everybody, regardless of how hopeless you think they are, they do the best they can. That's the position of a Gestalt, from Gestalt. Everybody does at the best of their ability. So in order for me to build the life I want to have, I try to take the good things with me and let go of the things that burden me down. So if you go on a journey and you end up in a state that this is me, I can do nothing, then you have probably not started on the journey of change. If you realize like, oh, I want to change, but I don't like what I'm seeing, then you have surrounded and become a victim instead of going on the journey of change. So I had to gradually learn to see myself from the outside and away from the introject. And gradually the wall came down as I learned to listen to other people's feedback and their view of me. And it was also a great help for me to observe and learn and from others how they related. And I kind of like, oh, I like that way of relating. So I'll ask that person a little bit about how they relate. I can learn from that. So, of course, I did not lose my strength, but now my strength is not taking up and dominating my relationship like it did in the past. And of course, I'm still working on discovering myself. And frankly, I think I will spend the rest of my life trying to understand myself and grow and develop different part of me and my relationship. So I have an attitude of keeping an open door to others because I feel there are so much to learn. And I also enjoy it, although sometimes it's scary. And I enjoy it because I feel more sense of control. I'm no longer a victim of my introject. I owned it. I own it. I own my parents. I own my history. I own everything. And yeah, I think it involves naturally. And that's the paradox. So if you think you can change others, I have, please give them the space to find their own way of change. So as a therapist, my role is not to change, but to support the change, that the clients are looking for. In Gestalt therapy, the change does not take place through coercive attempt by individual or by another person to change him, but it does take place if one takes the time and effort to be what he is and to invest into the current position. So, and then there is another slide. The role of change is to reject the role of change agent. Don't go on a journey trying to change other people, because yeah. So as a Gestalt therapist, that is never successful. So as a Gestalt therapist, my role is not to change, but to support the change the client are looking for. Just, yeah, the last slide. So, sorry, that's the last slide. So the paradox is first to become who you are and accept fully what you find. And from this position, you can become what you want, what you decide to do. Without the firm foot, it's like your foundation on the ground is, without that, it's hard to move forward and to know where to go. Because you don't know, if you reject your starting point, you also don't know where you want to go. So a part of accepting is what you will find, that you will find things that you particularly don't like about yourself, but that's okay. We all do. But from that position, you have a chance to do something about it. And you can become what you want to be. I think, yeah. Yep. And so, if you're curious about Gestalt therapy, there are very many videos on YouTube. that you can find that explains more if you want to understand more. If you want to get in touch with me, you can. This is my contact information. And as I said to members, during this Corona time, I'm not charging anything. This is my offer to all members. They can call me anytime, from anywhere. I have calls from all over the world, by Skype, by Zoom, by WhatsApp. And so just send me an email first and let's talk. Sometimes that's only what people need. They don't necessarily need therapy, but sometimes it can be good to discuss with another person. Is it okay that I share some picture of my family? Is it okay? So I'm stop sharing this. Yeah, so actually that was it. That's all.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's very interesting. There's a lot of content there. I have a ton of questions. I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have questions. Yeah, if you have any questions right now, just put them in the chat and we'll have a little discussion now. Yeah, but it's very, very interesting. I haven't heard very much about Gestalt therapy before, actually, so it's very interesting from that perspective. So anyway, I thought, just to narrow it down, I narrowed it down to a couple of questions for me. So one was obviously to make it a bit more, even focus back on relationships and how we can make use of some of this knowledge in our relationships. So yeah. I was wondering a little bit like what your suggestions would be to kind of facilitate this kind of, this kind of change, or like how we can maybe encourage our spouse, or how we, if we ourselves feel like we need to go on this journey of self-discovery or self-acceptance, what can we, maybe we can of course seek out somebody, but is there a way that we can facilitate that in our relationship somehow?
Yeah, supporting and giving each other the space.
How do you mean?
And ask each other, if there are something you are wondering about, because when somebody is changing, you feel something is happening and something is going on. Share. Don't keep it as a secret. I'm going on a secret journey, like James Bond mission, and nobody's going to know about it. That causes so much tension. And if you share, you might even get the support. And the support would naturally be to give each other space. And if you feel like commenting, then please ask, would it be okay for you if I commented on something I think I see?
You mean like in the relationship, you mean, or something like that?
Yeah, something that I see that is making our relationship difficult. Is it okay? Ask for permission. Don't just expect to have it. Be respectful. It's respectful, because I mean, I make the mistake all the time. I'm not a saint, my God, but I know if you have develop this kind of relationship of respect, that you can ask respectfully, and not as a critic, but yeah, and there shouldn't be any kind of second desire behind, just because of you want to support that person. And if that person says no, then it's no.
Exactly.
It's okay. Yeah.
No, that makes, actually, I can relate to that myself. Usually, I mean, I brought up some topic, but to ask if the other person is ready to maybe, to hear you out can be a good thing, or like ask permission to talk about a specific topic, because I think all relationships have quite, I'm sure everybody here knows there's probably some sensitive topics in your relationship, like maybe money, or maybe, I don't know, something else that might be very sensitive. And it could be good to ask the other person if it's okay if we talk about it before, because otherwise the other person might not be ready, or they're not, you'll have the opposite effect. It won't be good.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And so, so where do you start? I mean, like you said, so you finding somebody to share with, but so you would share, you're saying to get your spouse on the same page as you feel like, okay, I want to go on this I feel like, you know, I need to grow. I need to go on this. So you invite, you tell spouse about it. But so then what would you do after that?
You kind of, first you have to decide to open the door of pain. I mean, because it's so painful to be seen by others, because it's not the picture you hold of yourself. And as one of my teachers said at the Gestalt Institute, he said that we had one of our classes, and he said, suddenly he said, because there was some person working with the story, and he said that, oh, I have forgotten how painful it is to change. So pain, oh yeah, but be ready for it. If you are ready for it, you don't slam the door. You are not a victim. You don't take it as a criticism. You don't act as a victim, like everything is said, or again, yeah, you know.
Well, that makes sense. So would it be good to then find somebody to share, like a counselor or another person to share with, then, or I mean, or like, is there, you know, and I'm trying to look for like practical advice here, maybe. What could be some first actions we could take if we wanted to go on that journey? I suppose is the question.
If you have a quite good relationship, you can do it in your own couple. If you need to develop an ability to talk about the most painful thing, I would suggest to go to somebody you trust, somebody that you feel like, oh, this person, I would actually like to share my heart with this person. Don't, if it's too vulnerable to do it in the couple, don't do it. Wait until you feel, it feels like, yeah, I'm strong enough. I'm able now to share this, which is difficult for me. Don't push yourself and don't push others, because pushing yourself means you're pushing your boundary, and you are bound to end up in another fight. So don't do that.
Exactly.
Do it when you are ready. If you are not ready, you're not ready.
Exactly, and that can tie in also with the fact, right, like you said, to ask permission to talk about it, and ask your spouse if they're willing to be that person. It could be one thing, but if they're not, or if you feel like maybe another person would be better to share with, that might be good. Actually, I would say that's what I've seen as well. Sometimes you could benefit from going to speaking to somebody else, like a good friend or a counselor or something like, because sometimes it could be unrealistic to expect your spouse to be the perfect, like the person to help you through that pain or help you. They might be the perfect person, but so we all need many different people as well. So sometimes we need to get help from the outside, like from other people, and that can heal us. Okay, actually, I think there's been loads of questions there.
But it's also because you see yourself from the inside. You don't see yourself from the outside. And you hold that, all of us, we hold like an idealized view of ourselves, and sometimes we cling on to it so hard. So anything that comes in our way that is not confirming that gets thrown back in the face of the other person. So that's the pain, to break that picture. That's the pain.
Exactly. And it's even hard. Yeah, exactly. That's interesting as well, because the way that we live nowadays with social media and all these things, like they say, the social media gives you back whatever you like. It feeds you back whatever and so it's really, it's almost like it's reinforcing. Of course, it's reinforcing our good qualities, but it's also reinforcing us to, it gets us stuck in the pattern as well. Right. So I can see what you mean, that we have to sort of maybe also break free from that.
Absolutely.
For sure. So also, I have one more question here. How has this journey benefited you in your relationship?
Well, I'm still working on it, and not being alone in this journey. I can't do everything. So of course, on every journey, if you have a companion, you're also dependent on that person working with themselves. And we do work with ourselves, both of us, in our relationship in different ways. And of course, with my children, I got less stressed. I could accept more, and I could accept who they are. I didn't try to make them be what I wanted them to be. I could like, go in with the curiosity. Who are you? And what do you like? And why do you like that? And so I really felt like I was free to develop a very a relationship of trust with my kids, because I had no second agenda for them. I was genuinely interested in understanding and supporting them to be who they are.
That makes sense.
So it was actually wonderful.
Fantastic. So so your self acceptance led to you being able to be more accepting to other people, especially family.
Absolutely, absolutely, and everybody else also, because I'm connected with my own feelings. I can understand something of other people's feelings.
Exactly. Well, and like you said, that is the paradox of change.
Yeah. Not to put on a new coat or new clothes and and think that you change. No, you just put on a new clothes.
Exactly. Wow, that's very interesting. I think that's in terms of questions, I think that's what we have time for. But talking about questions, we should go through the questions for the discussion groups. So maybe Andy, if you could put them on the screen. I think we will have them on the screen, and then we usually present them just to give everybody. Auntie Margaret, would you like to just read them and maybe explain your thinking about the question? Just to would that be okay? Yeah, you can skip the intro. Okay, so there'll be an intro first. We're going. Oh yeah, okay. I'll do the first one here. So just do a quick intro when you go into your groups. Quick intro about yourself, just really quick, and then we said, whoever feels like they should start can start. But some groups we have problems. They say that nobody initiated conversation. So tonight we thought we'll try this. And if you're the youngest person in your group, you'll have to determine maybe who's the youngest. But anyway, we'll just try this. So if nobody, then that person can start talking or whatever. But main thing, as we go into the discussions, I think it should be all let's have a good time and be relaxed and let's make it a good time together. So okay, so Margot, if you go from question 2, that'd be great.
Yeah, so is your feeling towards your spouse based on your needs or based on you're trying to understand and accept your spouse? What I mean by that is what kind of this creative adjustment that you made as a child, your protective mechanism, they will seek something from your spouse. So it's more like it's hard to discover it right away, but you can start thinking about it. What is your motivation for your relationship towards your spouse? Are you looking for the things you need, or are you also looking to understand and accept your spouse?
Okay. So that's basically about, do we approach our spouse with our needs, or do we try to understand and accept them, or come in with acceptance and understanding? Is that what it means?
Yeah, it's like if you can't accept yourself and your coping mechanism, then it's very hard to accept your spouse. Actually, that's what it means.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So if you have children, is your hope for their future based on your knowledge of your child, or more based on your own ideas of what you want them to be? So if you want your kids to be successful, get to know them, support them. Even if you think they are crazy, just support them. And along the way, my experience with that is our son, he wanted to study certain subject. I didn't say anything, I didn't oppose, I just supported. I knew what was good for him. And in the end, because I supported him all the way through the madness of choosing an education, he ended up choosing what I thought as I knew him, would be best for him. I never said it, but he naturally came to it because of the support. So support your children of course, if they go totally astray, then of course, please guide them. But usually they have a clear sense of things, and help them to figure out what's the consequences of their choice, instead of putting your choice on them, because they will end up miserable. if you do that.
Fantastic. So we have a good conversation starter right there. Great.
Yeah, and kids are awesome. They are wonderful. How can you understand, consider the other needs more? And that's about, if you don't accept your own needs and understand your own needs, it's really hard to understand or even accept other people's needs. Or, yeah. In what way do the opening of the others about your opinion, sorry. In what way do other people's opinion about you affect you and your relationship to them? I know it affected me a great deal when people said, oh, you are so good at this and you are so good at that. I totally lost the view of myself. So it's really hard to hear both good and bad things about yourself, because if you are not in contact with yourself, then, you know, it will, for me, it had a very bad influence. I lost the sight of myself. So think about it. How does other people's view of you affect you and your relationship with them? Because I ended up trying to please those people. And that's not a good thing to build a relationship on. So, and I couldn't put up the borders between what is me and what's the need of the other person. And then the last one, it's about what I'm talking about. How much are you in contact with your own physical and emotional self? Because you need both your intellect, will, and emotion to be stable, to have the foot on the ground, know and accept yourself fully, in order to be able to feel connected and in contact with other people. I had a painful experience of that, of being totally out of contact with myself. I was just this strong person trying to be strong everywhere and always. So I didn't know my own needs. I wasn't connected, and that made me very lonely and disconnected from other people, because I was disconnected with myself. So that's basically what it means.
Fantastic. Yes, there's a lot of questions there, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Margoth. So we'll have a little bit of time now to digest the talk, the Q&A, these questions as well. So, and if you need a toilet break or get a drink or anything like that, there's time to do that now. So we'll take. I think we're a little bit behind schedule. So we're going to take a 3-minute break. There'll be a timer that Andy will put up now, and we'll be made back in 3 minutes time. So we'll see you back shortly. Welcome back, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. Great. Good. So welcome back. So just quickly before we go to the groups, just remember to turn your video and microphone, or like unmute yourself on the Zoom. So you can do that now already. The questions Andy has put in the chat. So if you want to, copy paste those. I think they're also in the email that was sent out anyway. And just remember, everybody, to take turns to don't hog the whole conversation or anything like that. Just listen to everybody and just have a great time together. So we're going to go into the groups now. We'll get a countdown, I think, from Andy to go into the groups. Have a great time, everybody, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good? Fantastic. I hope you had good discussions in your groups. There will be an opportunity to go back into those groups if you have time and you want to. Some people can't, but we always leave the groups open, and we'll come back to that in a bit. Good. So, so actually, if there's anybody who wants to share from their groups, maybe just write something in the chat. I always try that. Otherwise, yeah, if there was anything, yeah. On to Marco, were you in a group? I think you were in a group.
Yes, I was in a group with,
Yes. How was your group?
with my husband and a couple of others. And yeah, it was interesting. I learned something new about my husband. I had some new thoughts. So
That's good. So it's a successful
learning.
evening.
Very fruitful.
Fantastic. That's great.
No,
Anything you share from the group?
We discussed a little bit about kids, you know, should you let them do whatever they wanted, or like one shared that they had very dominating parents. And I said, well, just ask my husband. I was a very strict mother. And my children learned from they were very small that choices and actions had consequences. They knew that very, very early. I was strict, but I wasn't dominating them. But I had to, like our daughter, she went to a party for the first time. So I said, when you go into that party, you know what's in there. I'm not ignorant of what's going on among young people. I always knew what our kids were doing and where they were hanging out. I was the soccer coach for my son. I was I was in the school band. I was one of the cheerleaders. I knew everything, but I didn't control or try to dominate my children. I let them free, but I made them choose. So when she went to a party first time, I asked her, so when you go in there, you know what's happening. They're smoking, they're drinking, they will probably offer you a drink or a smoke or something, or a boy might try to sit next to you. What will you do? And first she said, oh, I don't know. Well, you have to think about it. Because the moment you cross the doorstep, it's too late to decide. You're already in the environment, and it will affect you. So you have to decide. You're not getting out of this car before you have decided.
Wow.
So of course that's very difficult because she has no idea what she's getting herself into, but I knew. And then finally she decided, she said, I'm not going to drink, I'm not going to smoke, and I'm not going to sit next to a boy, I'm not going to let anybody touch me. Oh, good. Then call me when you are ready to come home. I come and pick you up again. And you know, what a joy to see her coming around 11-ish, 11, 12-ish after in the evening. And she came, she was beaming like a sun. And like, Mom, do you know what happened? Everybody respected me so much, you know, for my choice. I was like, wow.
Fantastic. Wow. Yeah, that's that could be another evening to discuss about that.
Absolutely. I was so happy. And she kept choosing, you know.
No, that's really interesting. I don't have teenage kids yet. So I can't relate. I can't 100% relate to that yet. But it's like I said, it was very interesting though. I mean, I think these are the things I need to hear in order to prepare to take care of teenagers. But to say in our group as well, we also actually tying into like taking care of your kids. We did also talk about this balance between. I guess it was question. Yeah, there was the question about children. You know, I guess what you expect for them versus. Who they are, like accepting who they are. That's sort of the topic that we went into a little bit. And I mean, a couple of couples in the group had kids like around my age. My kids are 8 and 6, and there was another couple who had a 6 and a 7-year-old, I think. So at this age, I mean, I don't know. For some reason, kids start to be cheeky, or like they start like trying out lying or being cheeky or stealing, like trying to take something or almost like, and actually I have memories from that age as well, doing something like stealing or lying. And also Emma and also her sisters also similar around that age. I don't know, something happens at 6, some kind of developmental leap. So question is, how you handle these kind of things, and generally not just like behaviors like that, but also your characteristics in your kids. Are those, when should you intervene, or when should you try to change your children, and when should you not? And we talked a lot about that, and also the fact that you can actually help your spouse. You can reflect your you can be the one to help your spouse realize what they're doing when they're relating to your children, and they can vice versa. This has helped me in my relationship, and I think that would be something I would give as an advice to people. But it was an interesting discussion. So we're talking back and forth, and when it's when it's appropriate, maybe to step in and help educate, change, or grow your children, whilst balancing that out with accepting them for who they are, and also allowing them to be at that stage in their life. Like I said, about maybe 6, 7-year-olds are going to try lying, so maybe you shouldn't always blow up at them if they try lying. And I think maybe it's the same in your own relationship with your spouse as well. You need to allow them to be who they are and things like that. So yeah, it was very interesting. So that's good. See if there's anything else. Good. I think we're coming to a close. I'm just seeing if there was any other further things, but it's been an amazing evening, I think. Hope everybody had a great time. I think Aunt Margoth, she shared. Maybe we can put that on the screen again. Can we put up your contact details and things like that? If again, just to say, if you wanted to reach out to Aunt Margoth, yeah, there they are again. So that's her email address, and also the Blessed Family Department's website. If you want to send an email, also like she was saying, she's offering free, somebody to talk to, or also free counseling at the moment. So recommend that. And always try to remember if there's anything else to mention. No, I think that's it. So, Aunt Margoth, if you wanted to maybe say some final words or any other tips or advice, and then we could finish off with the prayer, that would be great.
No, it's been a wonderful evening sharing with you, and just please feel free to approach me anytime. And big or small issues, there is no big and small issues in my world. There are only issues. So don't think that your issue is too small or too big or whatever. So just feel free, and we can figure out what you need together even, So because I'm approached by people that they feel there are something, but they don't know what it is. And we figure it out. So don't worry. That's all, yeah.
Great. Fantastic. So we'll just say, if you could, let's have a prayer, and then we'll invite everybody to go back into groups if they want, or otherwise finish the evening.
Please join me in prayer. Our most beloved Heavenly Father, we are so grateful that we could come to discover you through our true parents and through the divine principle. Father, help us to understand our original nature, our original heart, so that we, Father, can start to live in contact with this original mind and original heart that you have placed in all of us. But unfortunately, by our life, by our experience, by our upbringing, by the society and the influence of people around us and our society, a lot of our original mind and heart have been clouded. Not because we asked for it, but it just happened. So Father, help us to make conscious steps towards purifying our heart and original heart and original mind, so that we can come close to you and come close to each other and show a true example to this world and inspire them to change as well. I believe that's the only way to change the world is from the bottom up. Father, ask that you bless everyone that took part tonight, and be with them, comfort their heart and guide their lives, Father. Like you, I hope you will also guide my life and my family's life. I pray and offer this evening up to you. In my name, Margoth Kalstad from a blessed central family. Adieu.
Adieu. Thank you so much, Aunt Margoth. Thanks again.
Welcome.
For a wonderful evening. And yeah, thanks everybody for being here. And so if you want to go into a group again, please do so. Don't feel don't be offended if people are not there, but they might have young kids, so they need to go for whatever reason, or go to bed because they need to get up early in the morning. But anyway, thanks everybody for being here, and thanks for joining MMM for another event, and I hope to see you next time. Take care.